Now altcoins are flying, Ethereum has pushed past resistance and the SEC has been defeated by XRP. Which is interesting, I know. We've even got analysts calling for alt season. But wait a minute, this exact thing has happened before, and it tends to lead to brutal fake outs. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the idea of breaking down the charts and the date and the danger signs, because it's either going to be something really big or just another bull trap into an August lull, which, if you stick around, has a lot of history. Not good history neither. Before we do so though, please do slap a like on this video and most importantly, leave a comment. Are we going for a lull or are we going to just rip off the band-aid and just do a whole new historic run? Hopefully the latter. Now, I echo everything in this tweet. I know some people think I hate altcoins. I don't. I just like to wind people up sometimes and ultimately just play what the analysis says. It is a horrible period, and it has been for a lot of people a brutal wait, especially 3 to 4 years for a lot of people. And that's just the reality of it. I think the market has changed. And if you don't follow me on TikTok, and you've probably seen my short that I put on here yesterday, I do random content on TikTok just for the shits and giggles. Trump has opened the door massively to the 401k, which could actually be a really good catalyst, but it could also be more Bitcoin-led investment, which could be a problem. You got to think pensions, safety, risk. Putting it into your altcoins is going to be a bit of a funny one, isn't it? So got to weigh up the pros and cons here. But let's talk about the altcoin market heating up a little bit. Now, in my Patreon, feel free to jump in. There's an offer on at the minute, and I go through kind of how I trade in terms of an investment mindset for an obvious sort of situation where I am talking about risk on, risk off. It's been a bit dippy, a bit weird at the minute, and that's the sad reality. Now, this is Chainlink. Chainlink is quite a good example. Risk on elements we had, throughout the course of July in terms of this bottom indicator here, which is USD dominance, was pretty good. And then we had a bit of a spike up and a bit of a correction, bit of an ugly one. But the overall mindset is we are going to see something very, very interesting over August, which is what I'm going to explain throughout this video. Now, Total 3/BTC is still in this situation where we could actually break up higher. Now, the altcoin market, as I say, has heated up a little bit. We are currently at $1.5 trillion in terms of the total 2. But that, to me, isn't perfect. It needs to go higher. It needs to be more aggressive, be more purposeful. Yes, we do have a high. Yes, we do have a situation where we had a break of structure, then we went and mitigated it again. Momentum is somewhat building, but it's not perfect. And the element to the entire cog of this is Ethereum. Ethereum needs to do better, but it is slowly getting there. It has corrected quite aggressively over the last couple of weeks. Now, as you zoom out and you see this, it's a bit of an ugly chart, but we have went and hit 2019 and 2020 levels, bounce off them, and then off we shoot. That could be the bottom, just saying keyword. But it isn't all bloody butterflies and roses and all kinds of good rainbows, is it? Realistically, it's the altcoin market. And even the likes of XRP, Cardano, and stuff like that, and people screaming alt season starts here, and myself included, but we get fucked over massively and faked out a lot. So that where we have that issue. And when we're looking at the stable currency dominance here, and I mentioned this loads of times in my videos, we are in a downtrend and that needs to continue, and we need to go down and below this point. That is the key here. But if you respect the view of it, that might all lead into Bitcoin, and it might well lead to a Bitcoin dominance going up longer. Unless, as I say, Ethereum does its magic. Because the one thing that I am watching is Ethereum. As you can see, that is the low. This is where we are right now. And we have hit this level 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And it is actually the 786 on one of the Fibonacci sequences, which is pretty important. And it has been knocking on the door for a while since, well, over a course of a year. Now, this has been a massive, obviously, thorn in the side of it. But my viewpoint is if we break above this, we're probably going to go through an aggressive pricing, and it's going to probably reprice, and it's probably going to allow more and more people to come into the market. This may lead to the ETF inflows going crazy. This may lead to when will people return to the market, i.e. existing retail investors come back going, I bought Ethereum, I bought Polkadot, I bought Solana, I'm going to buy it again. That sort of vibe. The real question is this going to be the breakout, or is it just going to be another trap? Are we going to fail here? Is Bitcoin going to fail here? Because we need to look at that as well. Because with regards to that argument and question and situation, what if, and we need to zoom in a little bit here, we need to go on to the daily time frame. What if we're just going to lull around for a while? And we are going to talk in the next part of this video about August and why August is a bit of an arsehole. And realistic situation here is if we fail to get above this zone and stay in that zone, and we do correct and go back down into these lows, and maybe 107k might be a point. We will get an altcoin kind of smash and a bit of a flush, and it's going to hurt. So this is why I'm at the situation of this whole entire video title of about will we just get an absolute pie in the face? And that kind of worries me because we've had many of them. And yes, I did joke a little bit about XRP at the front, but it's actually been quite strong. And we want strong altcoins to take the flow of the altcoin market. But realistically, it's been few and far between, unfortunately, which is why I think a lot of people as well are going to the shitcoin casino and not literally picking the obvious in the room. Now, I want to talk about August. It's always a bit shit. Just going to say it now. It isn't great. And the reason why I say that is not because of the returns. And you can see September's just equally as shit as well, by the way. And I know past performance doesn't indicate future results, and we can talk about that with a lot of things. For example, trading. Trading's quite hard right now. By the way, if you're interested, there's fees back. It's open to everyone in the world. There's no KYC. Blowfin's a good one. I highly recommend it if you are looking to get some market opportunities. But let's go back to that previous point. People are getting chopped up to bits because the market's a bit odd. Political agenda. For example, going back to it, Mr. Trump. He says certain things, it becomes a bit of an issue. Now, whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But we've got situations where people are long on leverage, dominance is undecided, Ethereum is still under resistance, and the macro environment fills with uncertainty due to tariffs. But shall we talk about the past of why August is an absolute arsehole? In 2023, we had a situation with the SEC. They sued Binance and it gave Bitcoin a bit of an issue. In 2022, we had a bit of a bear market acceleration. We had DeFi collapsing and the final washout begun. Basically, what happened with the likes of FTX and Luna at points. 2021, we had the Evergrande crisis, and that sparked huge volatility in the market. It created, again, another bit of a problem. And you could argue, like clockwork, we had some pretty nasty candles in the world of August, apart from 2017, which was a bit mental, obviously. But realistically, August is always noisy, and then you get the fruits of it in September, as you can probably see on the screen here. So what we tend to see is a bit of a long liquidation, and a lot of people get absolutely battered by the bruising of basically trying to risk all their money at a point, and then they get destroyed by late longs and late shorts every single time. And just to prove a point, this was last year. Look at how June we went down, then July we bounced, which is like what we did this year. And then we went down in August sort of time, and then we flopped around. Ugly, awful. There's many of these examples. But the main example you want to hear is, well, look what happened in October. We went much higher, which is always a good thing. So you're probably thinking, how on earth and what the hell am I doing? Now, I'm not really trading much futures. I do every now and again. But my overall bet is on a couple of things, mainly Bitcoin and mainly runes and maybe a couple of DCAs onto Solana and stuff like that, because I do think holding strong coins or holding a strong narrative is probably going to pay off if you are picking the obvious. And I know that's boring for some people, sorry. Now, you've got to remember, institutions will want a certain type of thing. That is what this cycle is all about. It's institutional led. It's a bit different. Your altcoins, like your rank 550, whatever disruptor, is probably not going to pump the market these days, unfortunately. And that's just the reality of it. And going full risk on those is a bit silly. As I alluded to before, if you jump in my Patreon, you'll go through exactly what, happened in the DChan chat there, because it's mental. But in terms of what I'm thinking, in terms of runes, for example, with the Bitcoin ecosystem or ordinals, I'd rather be a part of that system than a random system I don't know about because I'm in it. I do think that we're going to get niche bull markets, and we do talk about that quite a lot with a lot of things, and there's a lot of things on there that are pretty interesting. By the way, that discount runs out very, very soon. So when we talk about the likes of finding those little nuggets, the few and far between, look at what happens in the DEX screener. It's absolutely mental. It is literally a casino, as you know. So a lot of people are already thinking, well, I'm not going to make money in altcoins. I'm just going to have to gamble in terms of the Solana pumps sort of vibe, right? It's a bit shit. It's not really the tech-heavy world, and that's just the sad reality. But what is pumping is actually the obvious in the room, which, as you can imagine, is the top of my watch list, just below my head. We've had a little run on Cardano recently. We've had a little run on CRV, which is obviously technology-led with Ethereum. Obviously, Ethereum's done well recently. Chainlink's doing well recently. Solana, XRP's been doing well recently. It's just the obvious, which kind of sucks. So what we're waiting for is that. We're waiting for Ethereum to run. Whether it runs or not is another thing. We're also waiting for, realistically, let's be honest here, is Bitcoin dominance to decide what the fuck it wants to do, whether it's going to be an A or a B, which is probably unlikely. But we'll see. And then you can look at other coins, such as breaking multiple year cycle trend lines, which kind of retesting, but not enough just yet. Because realistically, let's be honest here, when this properly breaks down on the higher time frames, that is the start of a rotation, like a proper rotation. When USD dominance, as I've alluded to before in previous videos, does a real big solid number and goes below 5%, amazing. Or others slash BTC start to break above these zones, amazing. Until that happens, or if it gets a retest and rejects off it, it's just another bull trap. And realistically, how I'm playing this game is I'm looking for the overall situation with momentum. Altcoins have momentum, that's the thing. The RSI over 50% is relatively bullish for the most part, especially if the risk on is happening and that environment's there. But you got to be very, very selective with what you pick because not all of them work out. And that's the sad reality of it. Even right now, as I'm talking, Chainlink is going for a nice run. I got a really good trade on Chainlink over the last month and it was a great trade, but realistically I took my profits and I'm not back in it, which is unfortunate. But news, good reserve, it happened. Some things are happening, but not everything. I am still long-term bullish. I don't just hate altcoins, but I am short-term cautious because I do think we're not fully there yet, and I'd rather wait a little bit for the confirmation than get absolutely bludgeoned. I think far too many people have been absolutely destroyed by the chop, which is unfortunate. But let me know in the comments, are you risk on or are you just waiting on the sidelines and see what's going to happen? This is traditionally a market lull, which is what we tend to get across multiple markets. And if you've not yet done so, there's a link below to Discord. Jump in for free and engage. It's quite mental. Enjoy it. And if you've not yet done so, there's a video on the screen. Give it a watch.